Welcome, everyone, and I warmly and graciously thank you for joining us today as we celebrate Earth Day 2021. And Earth Day is a wonderful celebration of our home. It is the home that we all share. Every living being shares some aspect, or since it's a home, right, some room, some special room that we all share on this wonderful planet. And as we begin the next several slides, um, there won't be any audio. I want you to just take a look and be in touch with the feelings that you may have when you see them. Maybe write them down. So if you want to pause real quickly and maybe get some pen and paper or pencil and paper to write them down, you're more than welcome to at this time. But otherwise, just bring mindful attention to what you see on the next several slides. Now that you've had an opportunity to look at those pictures, let's reflect on what we saw. How did it make us feel when you looked at those images? Maybe it was the raw sewage, or maybe it was the happy baby that sticks with you the most, or perhaps it was that war-torn scene that maybe elicited some form of emotional response. So, let's think about those feelings. Did it make you sad or angry, happy? Some of them were concerning. Or maybe even you were just wondering, why is he showing me these images? And that's fine too. That is absolutely fine. When we consider our home, there are several perspectives that we can bring attention to. And the first is the world, or the Western world's viewpoint, right? A lot of us are well aware of that, where it's very individualistic, right? Our views, right? It's all about what we can get, what's in it for us, or maybe our immediate families. There's a separation of how we mindfully incorporate the world around us, right? We are separated from the trees. We are separated from the air. We are a separated being from the water, or even other people and other life forms. And so the Western world viewpoint is very disconnected in that sense. Whereas we consider, or if we were to consider an Eastern world viewpoint, it's quite the opposite. A lot of it is understanding that there is a sense of interbeing between the air, the earth, the water, the fish, the small little microbes, the giraffes, all living beings. There is an interbeing, a oneness, a connection. And this is a viewpoint that embraces all of this connection. And so this is when we want to understand our home, it's important to realize that we are not separated from it. We're not separated beings. We are all a part of Earth. And Earth isn't some lifeless rock just floating around in space with a bunch of organisms living on it. There's a connection. There is a oneness. And some of you actually may be familiar with that Gaia theory of where the Earth is a living organism in and of itself. And that's an important idea to consider as well, right? Embracing that idea of the Gaia, of the interbeing, of the oneness and the connection that we all share as living beings. So how do we get back into our home? Right? How do we open those doors so that we can reconnect to the world around us? One of the most efficient ways to go about that would simply be, yes, to unplug. Think about all of the electronics that you have right around you right now. Think about the music. When you listen to music, for instance, how do you listen to it? Do you have in earphones or earbuds? Earphones and earbuds are a way for us to disconnect to the world around us. Right? They isolate us. They make us an island. Your phone, right? Computers and tablets, all of those instruments that we have around us are distractions most of the time. Sure, we need to use computers and so forth for work, right? To maybe message a friend saying, hey, let's meet up and enjoy each other's company. But how often do you find yourself just scrolling aimlessly through the endless news cycles of information that is not really information? It's distractive material. A lot of it is just distractions that are designed to disengage us from the world around us. And so news, media, social media, they're not connecting us in the ways that may or may not be always beneficial. Yes, it is very nice to know when the family's upcoming reunion is. Yes, it is very nice to know when somebody has posted a wonderful achievement on their social media. But how often are the posts that we find negative or critical and not useful for us? And we find ourselves scrolling through them because we feel that we don't have anything else to do. Think about toxic relationships. Those toxic relationships distract us from the beauty around us as well. And there are many different types of toxic relationships that could be manifesting themselves in our lives. We are sometimes we can be so enthralled in a toxic relationship where we have ignored our friends. We have ignored nature because we are so maybe afraid to experience the wonders that are out there in the world that we all share. And so your home, you don't need to get to it. It's already there. It's already inside you. And you have those basic elements already inside you. You have the air inside you. Every time you breathe in, you are breathing in your home. When you eat, you're eating, you are incorporating the nutrients that your home has provided for you and putting that inside your body to help you grow. When you drink, you are drinking of your home. You are incorporating that into your body. These are the basic elements of existence, of what we all need. And our home provides that for us. So you are already there. You are already at your home. You're there. But many of us, sometimes we can make an analogy that we are sleeping restlessly and don't realize that we are home. Think about the last restless night that maybe you had. Did you sleep? Yes, you did. And you woke up the next morning. But while you were sleeping, you were home. But you did not realize it because you were sleeping. Maybe you tossed and turned. Maybe you woke up briefly and realized and said, oh, let me fluff up my pillow. Let me put these blankets back on my feet. Let me look at the clock to see what time it is and go back to sleep. So there may be intermittent periods of wakefulness during your sleep. But most of the time, during periods of restlessness, we don't realize that we are already at home. So once we realize that we are already at home and our home is already within us, and that we are active participants, that we are not separate from our home, but we are a part of our home. And to begin to embrace our sense of being, it's important that we begin with openness and being receptive of what is around us as being a part of us. Those sights that we saw on the beginning images, right? They were all a part of Earth. And we felt the emotions that we felt when we saw those images, not because we are separate, but because we are a part of it, a part of Earth, a part of the being, a part of the life. The sounds. When we hear the birds sing, the crackling of the creek as it flows in its banks and maybe comes across some water. The touch could be the touch of our own hand as we touch our other hand. Maybe we're holding our lover or our spouse's or our child's hand. Maybe it's the touch of a flower, of our fingers on a flower petal, or the bark of a tree. And the taste of the delicious foods that we all love to consume. And even the taste of the not so delicious foods. They're important just as well. And the smells of the fragrant flowers. Or maybe just the smell of another person. If we close our eyes, sometimes we can imagine how maybe a dear one who has passed, maybe we can recall their fragrance. And the emotions that we have. These are a wonderful way to begin and to cultivate our state of being in our home, realizing that we are not separate, but one with our home. And letting go. Letting go may sound easy, but sometimes it can be hard, and that resistance is what makes it hard. I'm reminded of a saying that I've seen someplace where change is not hard. It's the resistance to change. And most often we know that we need to change. We know that we need a broader worldview, a more embracing, a more loving, a more mindful worldview. And so trying to let go, trying to realize that I am now resisting a positive change can be hard sometimes. But when we bring attention to that resistance, it's easier to practice and it's easier to begin to develop that recognition of when we are being resistant to change, to something that we do need to let go of so that we can move forward and grow. And then acceptance. We can't always change the world around us, but we can always change how we view the world around us. And so that's an important part of acceptance. Acceptance does not mean that we promote someone else's bad behavior, for example, but we do say, hey, this person has exhibited some form of bad behavior, and you can accept that. Or maybe you can accept it within yourself. Accepting the bad behaviors that you have, but knowing that they are not healthy for you, starts a foundation to where we can maybe jump back to letting go. And so that's where we can begin and continue to embrace our state of being with our understanding that we are not separate of the world that we live in, but we are a very integral part of the world we live in. Just as a blood cell flowing through your body right now is a part of you, you are a part of that blood cell. There is no separation. There is no separation between you and I. You're listening to me. I am having an influence on you one way or the other, whether it's positive or negative or even indifferent. That is the sense of inner being. That is the sense of connection that we all share. And I'm reminded by this beautiful little saying, since this is Earth Day, right? Kiss the earth with each step you take. Take off your shoes sometimes and just walk in that grass. Walk in the sand. Walk in the mud. It all washes off. So don't worry about getting your feet dirty. I thank you for your attention, and I, again, wholeheartedly thank you for spending some of your time with me this wonderful Earth Day and the celebration of the home that we all share. I wish you a peaceful journey on your day, and certainly a peaceful journey as you continue on your path. Thank you.